The Champions League knockout phase is very boring to begin, but today we get to see a first real knockout tie between Inter and Atletico Madrid. And let me tell you, is that Atletico Madrid is going to defeat Inter. I mean, Atletico Madrid have scored 17 goals in the group stage, so Atletico Madrid are going to be very confident in their ability to attack in Europe. It's a whole completely different team. It's a whole completely different campaign. It's a whole completely different season. 8 goals and five conceded in the group stages for Inter. Atletico Madrid are not going to show Inter too much respect at all. They're going to treat them as any other team. Like Liverpool, for example, the Atletico Madrid knocked out in the Champions League a few years ago. This is going to be a welcome back for Diego Simeone, the former Nerazzurro, to defeat Inter. We see a new finalist in the Champions League. This has Diego Simeone written all over it. Atletico Madrid are going to win, and don't be surprised to see former Juventino Alvaro Morata with the goal, Juventino to upset Inter. So the competition is very boring to begin the knockout phase. Arsenal obviously going to knock out Porto. Well, Napoli and Barcelona is going to be a good one. I mean, Barca should advance. I mean, Napoli are in pretty bad form, but this Victor Osimhen avid, can Napoli be up for it to play like the team that won the Scudetto? I mean, both teams have hit pretty rock bottom as far as I can tell. But that's the other interesting tie. Uh, 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 Eindhoven and Dortmund could be good, because you're Peter Bosch, the manager of Eindhoven. He used to be with Dortmund for a little bit. So there's a couple of ties out there that can be interesting, but PSG are beating Sociedad. Man City are through beating Leipzig. Arsenal are through beating Porto. Man City are through beating Copenhagen. So at least we see a few interesting ties in the round of 16 that you can't say can go either way. But it has been written. The birth country of the one of the top rising stars of the game, Erling Haaland, is gonna win a back-to-back Champions League. Born at Leeds, West Yorkshire, United Kingdom, is gonna win the Champions League back at home. You can sit here and say that, oh, Harry Kane's gonna win his first country back at England, but what if Harry Kane's first country happens, ironically, internationally? This is where we're heading with. You can win the Euro with Jude Bellingham over at Borussia Dortmund Stadium. Is Dortmund Stadium hosting the final, if I'm not mistaken? Let me double check that quickly. But anyway, Bellingham would win the Euro back at Germany. I mean, Harry Kane's family is staying put at Germany. And Harry Kane's first trophy would have to be in the Euro final, England's first ever Euro title. The key to England winning is obviously Jude Bellingham and Foden. So that is what has me putting England over the edge for the Euro. So Kane's gonna have to try to get that first trophy in the Euro, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Bayern are in pretty bad form. So Bayern are not going to win the Champions League. The only other threat would be St. Jude winning at England as an Englishman. Real Madrid have a strong narrative, although I will have to take Real Madrid to win. Once Mbappe joins them, I will take Real Madrid. But the narrative of Bellingham is a strong one, but I like the narrative of Haaland and his birth at Leeds as the top one as far as the Champions League goes. Now, Arsenal obviously have got Saka and what have you. So, can Arsenal make the semifinals? Yes, they can. But are they beating City and Real Madrid? No, they're not. Maybe in a future year, maybe when they gain experience, but uh, as far as Englishmen to the final goes, this would probably set up a good narrative for Arsenal to the semifinals in the UEFA Champions League. I'm just trying to see where the side of the final is for the Euro. Okay, it's at Berlin. It's at Berlin. Okay. Well, Jude Bellingham's Camacho 60 and Berlin is 60. I'll kind of link the video at the end for the Euros. In case if you went around missing when you watch this channel, I can make any prediction anytime, months in advance. Doesn't have to be right before the Euro, so I can make a prediction, months and years in advance. But I'll show the Euro video. I'll put the Euro video in the description, or the last 20 seconds. Once I'm done, uh, you know, uploading. But Man City won a lot of cups at Wembley. Obviously, we're talking about the EFL Cup, the Community Shield, the FA Cup. So this is just a familiar environment. If you're Kevin De Bruyne and what have you, this is a very familiar environment. This is Man City's second home ground because they've played many semifinal and final knockout competition matches over at that venue. So this might as well be a home match for Erling Haaland. Uh, Leeds is like northern UK, so that'd be a 2-3 hour train ride, if I'm not mistaken, a 2-3 hour drive over there. I'm not sure how if there are like any high speed trains over there at England, but that's approximately the amount of time from where Haaland was born at over to London, where the Wembley is going to host the final. And I would like to say, Ancelotti, Italia won the Euro over at Wembley, and Ancelotti is an Italian manager. So don't want to ignore that. Just showing that there's narratives for Real Madrid if it doesn't end up being Man City. But Messi had the quick start, winning 2 Champions League titles or 4 Champions League titles before Ronaldo won his first. So I think Haaland gets off to a quick start, and that is going to be the motivation from Mbappe to go out and win the Champions League as soon as it's possible, so he can level with Erling Haaland. Atletico Madrid to knock out Inter. There's going to be an upset, but it's not an upset. Atletico are capable of beating anybody. You just look at Atletico Madrid. Is 1-0 through 2 legs against Man City. Atletico Madrid just didn't score. Simeone, his team was in the tie all the way to the end. So it doesn't matter about last year. It's a completely different season. And the fact is Inter have allowed Benfica to draw against them 3-3, a team in the Europa League. Inter have not managed to score double-digit goals. So this is a completely different team in Europe. They're an overrated team in Europe. Let's see how they can do when they don't have to face a Portuguese side or a very weakened AC Milan side in the knockouts. Are they capable of going to the final when you have to go up against the Premier League or Bayern or Real Madrid? That's the big question we have with it. And they did not face off against La Liga. So they have to show that they are indeed not overrated, that they can get to the final without having a very easy path to the final, beating 2 Portuguese sides and a very weakened Milan side. This is what Inter have to prove. I need to see more from Inter than Atletico when it's all said and done. If you are that great of a team, you have to make it to the final, beating any combination of the Premier League, Man City, Real Madrid, Bayern, not a weakened Portuguese side, and not a weakened Milan side, and certainly not 2 Portuguese sides. I mean, come on, that was an easy ride to the final. UEFA clubs take care of their own. Inter were in the red. They are facing financial difficulties. So, of course, it was set up for Inter to have an easy ride to the final last year because UEFA member clubs take care of their own. Arsenal made it to the Champions League final right before they had to pay for the cost of a new stadium. Roma were in talks of a new stadium. They really made it to the semifinals uh, against Liverpool. And Mohamed Salah used to be with Roma. And Tottenham made it to the Champions League final. This was right before they moved to the new stadium. They got the money from the Champions League to pay for the stadium. So the same thing happened to Inter last year. It's not going to last forever. Inter are going to lose to Atletico Madrid. Inter do not have any chance of winning the chips. You have to do more than die for penalties. If you're Lautaro Martinez, got to do way more than that. I need to see much more from the Nerazzurri than what I've seen in last year's knockout campaign. I need to see more than what I've seen in the group stages so far in the Champions League. Atletico Madrid are ready. 17 goals in the knockouts. They are ready. Be on the lookout for Atletico Madrid to knock out Inter. Simeone comes back. Simeone defeats Inter.